Do you ever? Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest.
This is a guy who asked Zelensky that stupid question with his funny face. This is a guy who asked Zelensky if he even owns a suit. You are asking a wartime president about suits. Somebody is coming for you to ask for help in providing them with the necessary ammunition to fight against the enemy who is invading his country, killing his people. But what you're concerned about is him not wearing a suit. And you're asking him when is he going to wear a suit. That is disrespectful for him to come in the Oval Office without a suit. As if that is of any importance.
And do you think
let's listen
as a snarky comment?
Do you ever? Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest.
And the worst thing is, some people in there are laughing. Even the Prime Minister, the Vice President. You can see Marco Rubio. His body language, his reaction is like, oh shit, damn. He knows it's wrong. But some people are laughing. And even J.D. Vance is laughing. That wasn't funny at all. That wasn't funny. He's laughing. Look at Marco Rubio.
Just want to see if you do.
Look at Marco Rubio.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I know by the thousands and tens of thousands of comments I've gotten on social media, death threats, phone calls.
Why not?
I think the world took it as a snarky comment. That wasn't really my intention.
Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for talking to us.
Yep.
I wonder
what was your intention?
by asking you on Friday,
Brian Glenn, what was your intention?
Zelensky, why don't you wear a suit?
The husband of Marjorie.
Well, first of all,
Marjorie Green.
we have been covering, obviously, the events in Ukraine since it started. And I've been on the campaign trail with President Trump for many years. And as Americans get kind of engaged in what's going on, that was one of the questions that many Americans had. Is why doesn't the President, Zelensky, wear a suit?
Because many Americans are dumb. If Americans are asking you, especially you, this question, that means they are dumb. You're saying many Americans are asking a wartime president, somebody whose country is in war. Kids are sleeping without food. People are being killed. But Americans are only concerned about him not wearing a suit. What he's wearing looks like military fatigue. He is telling the world that we are at war. That is why I'm dressed like I'm ready to fight. Because his country is at war. Why should he be wearing a suit and a tie? Why? And why are Americans concerned?
Whether it's in the U.S., whether it's over in Europe. And when you look at the several dignitaries that seem to have a level of respect for their office, I just asked the questions that many Americans were asking at home, and that's kind of what I've been doing for a while. So I didn't mean to come off as a snarky comment, although I do feel like when Zelensky got out of the car and met President Trump at the West Wing, that's, if you probably saw, where President Trump mentioned that it looks like he got dressed up. So I thought I would ask him, why didn't he wear a suit?
And do you think it did come across as a snarky comment?
It did, because we were laughing.
I know by the tens of thousands of comments I've gotten on social media, death threats, phone calls, I don't know how they got my number. I think the world took it as a snarky comment. That wasn't really my intention. My intention was just to see if he understood the level of respect that people have when they go into the Oval Office. Now, a lot of people will say...
The level of respect that people have when they go into the Oval Office. Elon Musk goes into the Oval Office. He doesn't wear a suit. Elon Musk goes into the Oval Office and he carries his son on his neck. His son is there making silly comments, sat on the floor, talking back to Donald Trump, the President of the United States. And you are asking another president whose country is in war, why don't you wear a suit? and you are saying that he did not show any respect for the Oval Office. People are sometimes, what was in his brain? Even now talking, what is in his brain? I just hope she's going to ask him about Elon Musk not wearing a suit and having his son on his neck in the Oval Office while he's talking to the President of the United States. I hope she's going to ask that.
Wear a suit.
Thank you.
Wear a hat. Why does he take his kid into the Oval Office? Well, Elon Musk is in charge of saving, billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars going over to different, organizations. Zelensky has been given, some say, close to $300 billion in cash. And
some say.
I would think at that point, it does warrant.
You see what he just mentioned there, that Zelensky is giving money in cash. They don't give money in cash. That is what they keep saying in America. He doesn't receive anything in cash. It is all in the form of military equipment. There's no cash, there's no transfer of cash. It sounds as if there's a big bag full of money, boxes full of money that goes to Ukraine. No, that will be wrong. Because when money is involved, let me not say even Jesus, when money is involved, you cannot trust anybody. The aid that goes to Ukraine is in the form of military equipment and training of soldiers. Cash does not exchange hand. And even the amount he's calling, that's not the amount. Because if that amount is true, that means America has given Ukraine aid more than the whole of the European Union, which is a lie. America has done close to 100 and something million. The European Union has done close to 100 and close to 200. So definitely what he said is wrong. And it's not. That is why these people are wicked. Seriously.
A little bit of respect.
So because Elon Musk is a rich man and Zelensky is the president of a country at war, there is a difference. So he's trying to put those two people, he's trying to make them to be different. Elon Musk can do whatever he wants because he's the richest person on earth and he supports Donald Trump. And Donald Trump benefited from Elon Musk. But because Zelensky is coming to ask for aid, it's almost like Ukraine is begging. He's begging so he can talk to Zelensky how he wants. But when it comes to Elon Musk, no. Elon Musk, no, he's one of us. It doesn't matter how he comes to the Oval Office. No, it's fine. It's okay. That is what he's saying.
Earlier, Victoria, and I think it's very appropriate for this particular situation.
I hope she's going to push back.
You can judge a book by its cover, and by his lack of respect for his attire did come across later throughout the interview when they got in that heated exchange with Vice President J.D. Vance and President Trump. But it was not my intention to spark that. I was just making an observation.
A couple of things to pick you up on there, if I may, Mr. Glenn.
Yeah.
The US hasn't given $300 billion worth of aid. I know President Trump has said it a number of times, but it's more like $119 billion, according to
Thank you.
in Germany, who actually tracks what goes into Ukraine. And in terms of
that is awesome.
about his attire, many people are saying, look, this is a guy at war. He's been leading his country bravely through this war against Russia for 3 years, and probably what he's wearing is the last thing on his mind.
It's the last thing it's the last thing on his mind to be thinking like, oh, I should wear a suit. No. The first thing that comes to Zelensky's mind is, I need ammunition to defend my country. I need to defend my people. I need to stop this guy from killing my people. I need to stop all these drones from throwing bombs on my people. It's not, I need a suit. He's got tons and tons of, Zelensky used to be in suit. He has been a comedian. He used to dress so nice. But this is not the time. There is time for everything. This is not a time to be thinking of putting on a suit and a tie. Zelensky is from one place to another. He is comfortable in what he wears. So there's no... This thing about Americans are asking questions. Is you only be a dumb person or like him, or somebody who is, as she said, snarky, I don't know that word, to be asking him why he's not putting on his suit. Or that was intentional because people were laughing. Even the vice president was laughing,
I agree with you.
which wasn't even funny.
My point, the war is not in the West Wing and the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. The war is back in Ukraine. And let me be really clear.
He's still trying to push back.
This is some of the hate that I've gotten online.
Because you call it on yourself. You call the hate on yourself. When you call hate on yourself and then you start to complain, you call the hate on yourself. And even now, you are still trying to defend what you said. Everybody's trying to tell you that that is not important. Even Zelensky told you that is not important. When the war is finished, I'm going to put on a suit, and even a better suit than what you were wearing. So that is not really important.
Left the Roosevelt room. President Trump wants nothing more than peace in that region. Wants to stop this war. Matter of fact, my first question, Victoria, was about his legacy going down as a peacemaker and someone who stopped a war and didn't start any wars that the U.S. got involved. So that was my first question. So, you know, this is something that he wants to end. And to be honest with you, 2,700 people, Ukrainian men, and you know this, you report on this, die a day in Ukraine. And that is a concern of the president, and that is why he wanted to make this deal.
If that is the concern of the president, then why does he keep saying that? Why has he changed? Now he says that Ukraine started the war. If that is the real concern of Donald Trump, let him call Putin and tell Putin, stop this war. You started this war. Let him just say it how it is. Putin, you started this war. Call your soldiers back. Let your soldiers leave Ukraine. That is how you start to stop a war. You cannot say you're trying to stop a war by telling the person who has been attacked to stop fighting. When he stops fighting, what happens? Putin will then march into Kiev. So you're telling him to stop fighting, not to defend himself from somebody who is attacking him. He did not attack. He was attacked. And he's defending. He's on the defense. And you're asking him to stop fighting. You're asking him to go for peace. What are you trying to tell us? You're telling us that Ukraine should surrender. Because that is the only way that this war can stop, if you're asking Ukraine to be the one to initiate that peace. That means you're telling Ukraine to say, okay, Putin, whatever you've taken from us, have it. We are not going to fight anymore. That is what these guys are trying to tell us. Or that is what these guys are trying to tell Zelensky to tell his people. That is what they're trying to tell Zelensky to go and tell his people, whose kids, moms, husbands, wives, grandfathers, grandma have been murdered by Putin. You're telling me who was attacked to ask for peace from my attacker, to apologize to my attacker, to say nice things to my attacker, instead of telling my attacker to move away from my house. Because if you move out of my house, there's no point me attacking you. As long as you are in my house, I am going to attack you, because I want to push you out of my house. Because if I don't attack you, then I'm giving you my house. These people, I don't know.
So I'd like to focus more on the peace aspect of this rather than a snarky comment, if you would, about his attire. And mind you, many Americans are thinking about this. You know,
come on.
99.9%
Come on.
people watching this interview right now did not vote in the 2024 presidential election. But they do want to see the war end, like we do as well. And so if people are so bent out of shape about my question about what he's wearing, I think the bigger picture should be, why didn't Vladimir Zelensky just go in, show a certain level of appreciation and respect for what we've given him? Now, we don't know really how much we've spent, because no one can account for the missing military weapons and cash that's been brought there. So whatever
That is another conspiracy. That is another conspiracy. Tucker Carlson was spreading this fake conspiracy that Ukrainians are selling the military equipment that is being given to them to defend themselves. Cash is missing. Cash has not exchanged hands. She just corrected him. Cash has not exchanged hand. They don't need cash. They are asking for military equipment to defend themselves, not cash. But he is still pushing this false narrative. These Americans, seriously.
There in Germany is.
And he's supposed to be a journalist.
From our side of things, we can't even get a clear accounting of that. But numbers aside, the goal here was to achieve.
Numbers aside.
That's what we need to do. And I will say this, if Zelensky comes back to the Oval Office and he's wearing a suit, let me be the first person, Victoria, to shake his hand and congratulate him and
because
for that.
Because you ask him a question, then you think Zelensky is gonna change and come back in a suit. How dumb does he think he is? So because he thinks that he asked that question to Zelensky why he wasn't wearing a suit, Zelensky is going to come back wearing a suit. Something must be wrong with this guy's head. Something must be wrong.
We'd be more than happy to do that.
I mean, I'm sure somebody else has said this to you, but obviously when Winston Churchill went to see Roosevelt during the Second World War in the White House, he was wearing military fatigues. Was he showing disrespect?
Well, I wasn't alive then. I wasn't there to watch that.
You've got a view.
I'm not going to comment that. But what I'm saying is, if you guys are trying to get this, it's all about the wardrobe, and that's what I've been the biggest excuse. Why isn't why aren't we talking about
Dumbass.
27
Dumbass. That's why your wife is a dumbass too, like you.
Ukrainian men die a day, and we're going to argue about, well, Winston Churchill was wearing military fatigues, and is that okay? Elon Musk wears, a T-shirt, a jacket, and a hat.
So why did you ask that?
I don't know why.
You are the one who asked this question about him not wearing a suit. Now you're blaming people for condemning you for saying that. You are the one. And you've just said again that you hope that he's going to come back wearing a suit. You're going to shake his hand and apologize. You should apologize now. Because Zelensky's focus is not on what he wears, if I wear a suit or not. He's been to the UN. That's how he dresses. Everywhere he goes to, that's how he dresses. Nobody has asked that question because that is not the first thing in Zelensky's mind when he wakes up from bed, even if at all he sleeps. They've just showed you a picture of Winston Churchill at the White House without a suit. Now, you're trying to find a way to just say, I'm sorry for asking that question. That wasn't really anything of importance for me to ask a wartime president. That was a bad timing. That's it. You're trying to excuse Elon Musk. You're trying to excuse Winston Churchill, but you're just focusing on Zelensky. Because you guys are working for Russia. You guys, your main aim is to belittle Zelensky. Is to make Zelensky look like a fool. A lot of people call him a clown. A clown. People call a wartime president a clown. His people have confidence in him. His parliament, not unanimous, majority people in his parliament gave him thumbs up. Vote of confidence. Their support to Zelensky. His people are backing Zelensky. Now you're playing all sorts of gymnastics. Just apologize. Just apologize. Don't make yourself look like a fool.
You guys, then, congratulations. You guys just made a deal with Zelensky a few days ago. And, he wore a tracksuit to meet your king there. Now, hopefully that wasn't offensive to you guys. But look,
let me ask you about something that President Trump has said tonight.
Make yourself look like a fool.
He's criticised on Truth Social President Zelensky again, and he said America will not put up with it for much longer. What do you think he means by that?
Well, obviously, I can't speak for the president, but
you can't speak for the president.
What we don't want is Zelensky to draw this thing out. Let me ask you a question. Would you like?
Why are you guys focused on Zelensky, who is the victim of this war? Why are you guys focused on Zelensky? Because he's a small guy. Why are you guys not saying we have phoned Putin? We have told Putin to withdraw his troops from Ukraine. Why is the focus on Zelensky? Because you guys think Zelensky is the tiny mosquito that you guys can just trample. Because Trump is He wants to be like Putin. You guys have to focus on Putin. He is the one who started the war. He is the one who sent his soldiers into a different country. He is the one who invaded somebody's country. The focus should be on Putin, not Zelensky. Zelensky is defending his country. Putin is attacking Ukraine. So the focus should be on Putin, not on Zelensky. So why they are making us think as if Zelensky doesn't want peace, as if Zelensky wants his people to be killed, as if he wants his country to be destroyed. Come on.
War in today, right now. And I'm assuming the answer is yes. But if Zelensky views this war as some type of conveyor belt of U.S. tax dollars and money going to Ukraine with no intention of a ceasefire, then I think we all need to take a step back. But I don't know what President Trump meant by that. I know he wants peace. He said that today.
You see, he hasn't even mentioned the word Russia or Putin. He hasn't. He hasn't said President Trump said he's going to call Putin to get this thing sorted. He hasn't mentioned the guy who actually started this war. It's all on Zelensky, because Zelensky, to them, as they say, is a clown. To them, according to their president, Zelensky is a dictator. He hasn't mentioned Putin at all. How can you be talking about the war in Ukraine without even mentioning the guy who started the war? Ukraine did not attack Russia. Russia attacked Ukraine. So if we are talking about peace, we need to say, okay, Putin, withdraw your troops from Ukraine. And once those troops are withdrawn from Ukraine, who is Ukraine going to fight with again? Nobody, because there's nobody to fight with. They are gone. And then we'll start to talk about peace. But he hasn't mentioned Putin or Russia at all. These guys are showing us who they are for.
Wants this to go on and perhaps be World War III. None of us want that.
By the way, who is going to start World War III? It's not Putin. Putin is the one to start World War III. Ukraine cannot start World War III. Ukraine is busy defending its territory from Putin. So the only person who can start World War III is Putin. And now they are saying Ukraine. Putin is the one who has the nuclear weapons. Ukraine hasn't got any nuclear weapons. So how are they going to start World War III?
He's done. Let's do it. Let's get this mineral rights agreement done as well. And that is one way that U.S. can recoup the hundreds of billions of dollars that we've given Ukraine.
You were there, obviously, when J.D. Vance and President Trump said what they said to President Zelensky on Friday. One political leader here in the UK, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, said President Trump and Vice President Vance were guilty of thuggery and bullying. Do you think that's...
Of course.
No, but I don't think it's fair, because if you look at the media coverage the last 4 to 6 years on President Trump, every single news outlet, not only in this country, but around the world, bullied President Trump. They've lied about him. The American media has.
How can you say they bully President Trump? President Trump is a bully. Everything that happens to President Trump is he brings it to himself. He brings everything that happens to him. But nothing always happens to him. President Trump is above the law anyway, so no bully can bully President Trump. No bully.
But the American media has lied about President Trump. They've done it from day one, but yet no one calls them out for, quote, bullying. So if Vice President J.D. Vance and President Trump want to ask some tough questions and
tough questions
front and center in front of all those cameras, that's not bullying. That's being transparent to the American people. Mind you, I really wish that perhaps President Bush would have opened up that Oval Office to the media like President Trump did, so the world could see these highly important decisions being made that could save lives. Victoria, that's what this is about. It's about saving lives and ending this war. If people's feelings get hurt and they feel like it's bullying, then maybe you're not the right person to lead a country. I'm just saying. President Trump is as tough as it gets. He represents
This guy is.
making peace in that region.
I can see the shame in his face.
President Zelensky being as tough as he gets, it can't be peace at any cost. It's got to be a sovereign Ukraine. It's got to be backed by US security guarantees, or else President Putin will be right back in there.
Well, we don't necessarily know that because I think.
What do you mean you don't necessarily know that? We all know what Putin wants. Putin took the first part, Crimea, in 2014, 2010? From 2014? And then we thought that was going to be over. And then Putin came back in 2019. What was it, 2019? In 2019. And you're saying that we don't know. We know. We know. He knows. He's just scared to say it.
Absolute fear on the faces of people involved. So if this deal is done and there's no troops on the ground for security, kind of a backstop, if you will, Victoria, in all due respect, I think the world has seen a weak Joe Biden, and they have seen how the U.S. has not stood up to the adversaries in the world. So if President Trump makes a deal and says, you will not invade Ukraine, this thing is over, Victoria, they're not going to do it. We don't need to keep putting people and resources and spending money for people on the ground. It's over. I think the respect for the world they have for, I mean, look at the events on October. That would have never happened if President Trump was in office. So if President Trump is in office, Vladimir Putin is not going to invade.
At last.
It's over. Get the deal done, get peace, and let's move on and rebuild and help those people suffer in Ukraine. Women, children, babies, a whole generation of men are being wiped out right now. And that's concerning for everyone. That's the biggest point I want to make here.
She is trying her best.
That region,
She's trying her best not to say what you're saying is bullshit.
And I just pray that something will happen and we'll be able to stop this bloody war.
Brian Glenn, thank you very much for talking to us this evening.
She was just like, I don't know why she didn't just tell him that, oh, what you're saying is bullshit. Oh, what you're saying is bullshit. Look at him. Shame on his face. If I was on, I wouldn't have come on the BBC anyway, because he has just made things worse for himself. He has just made things worse for himself. But anyway, you know, these people, they don't have no shame. They have no shame. Somebody's trying to defend his country and you're concerned about what he's wearing. And then they've shown you two people, Elon Musk and Winston Churchill, wartime president, not wearing a suit at the White House, and you try to defend that. But for Zelensky, you're telling him to wear a suit, and you expect him to wear a suit when next he comes. You will shake his hand to apologize. What a numb job. That's why his wife is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is that her name? I think so. The member of Congress. But wicked people will always be wicked people. And this guy definitely is one of them. What do you think, guys? Let me know what you think. Was he wrong to have asked that question? Or is that any valid question to ask a wartime president? And why is he trying to defend Elon Musk and Winston Churchill? Why? Elon Musk is even worse. It's worse. He's a South African. The South African. Nah. There was no way you can get yourself out of